Rivalries are the lifeblood of sports. They push athletes to new heights, create unforgettable moments, and fuel the passion of fans. In the NBA, few rivalries have stood the test of time, shaping the narrative of the league and cementing themselves in basketball history. Today, we're diving into the NBA rivalries that made history, rivalries that weren't just about wins and losses, but about pride, legacy, and basketball's place in popular culture. Whether it's the glitz of Hollywood versus the toughness of Boston, the physicality of Detroit's bad boys against the finesse of Michael Jordan's Bulls, or the ongoing battle between LeBron James and the Warriors, these rivalries have defined eras. Let's take a closer look at the ones that have made the NBA what it is today, highlighting their most memorable moments and the impact they had not only on the court, but on basketball's place in the broader sports world. There's no rivalry in NBA history quite as iconic as the battle between the Boston Celtics and the Los Angeles Lakers. This rivalry transcended the game itself, becoming a symbol of basketball's greatest clash of styles, a battle of legacies that defined an era of basketball dominance. When you think of the NBA, it's hard not to think of these two franchises, whose championships, legendary players, and moments have defined the league's narrative. From the early days of the NBA, the Celtics were a powerhouse, led by Bill Russell's defense and leadership. They won 11 championships in 13 years, dominating the 1950s and 60s with a combination of teamwork, grit, and a defensive mentality that set them apart. But the 1980s were a turning point. The Los Angeles Lakers, powered by the dazzling Magic Johnson, entered their own period of dominance, characterized by Showtime basketball, a fast-paced, high-scoring, entertaining brand of play that was the antithesis of the Celtics' more methodical, gritty style. Magic Johnson's arrival in Los Angeles was the beginning of a new chapter in NBA history. His flair for passing, leadership, and that high-flying play made the Lakers a force to be reckoned with. But the Celtics' foundation of Larry Bird, a cold-blooded shooter and fierce competitor, made them a worthy adversary. The combination of Bird's shooting Kevin McHale's post moves and Robert Parrish's defense created a formidable trio that was capable of going toe-to-toe with Magic's squad. As the 1980s rolled on, the Celtics and Lakers clashed in some of the most intense and honestly memorable finals series in NBA history. The 1984 finals, honestly, were one of the defining moments of the rivalry. The Celtics managed to best the Lakers in a hard-fought 7-game series, and it really became a symbol of Boston's grit and determination. It was, a battle between these totally contrasting personalities, Magic's charismatic playmaking style up against Bird's cerebral and competitive nature. That series was just packed with iconic moments, including the Lakers' frustration with Boston's tough defense, and of course, those legendary performances by both Magic and Bird. In the end, the Celtics took the series 4-3, with Bird coming out on top as Finals MVP after averaging 27.4 points per game, 14 rebounds, and 3.6 assists. Pretty incredible, right? The Lakers weren't done yet, though. In 1985, they got their revenge, defeating the Celtics 4-2 in a series where Magic's leadership and the Lakers' fast break just could not be denied. The 1987 Finals, where the Lakers came out on top once again, really cemented the whole Showtime legacy with just an unforgettable moment. Magic Johnson's famous baby hook right over the Celtics' Kevin McHale and Robert Parrish sealed the deal and clinched the series. But, it wasn't just about winning championships. This rivalry was really about two completely different basketball philosophies going head-to-head. On one side, you had the Lakers' flair, their speed, and that fast-paced transition game. On the other, the Celtics' toughness, their defense, and just textbook half-court execution. This clash of styles, man, it made every single matchup between these two teams a true battle of wills. And honestly, beyond just the players on the court, the rivalry was all about the very essence of what the NBA stood for back then. The Celtics, they were the East. Hard work, discipline, that real blue-collar mentality. The Lakers, they were the West. Glamour, flash, and all the star power you could imagine. The rivalry was so intense that even regular season matchups had a heightened sense of drama. The atmosphere in Boston Garden and the LA Forum was electric every time the two teams met. Fans knew that when the Celtics and Lakers faced off, they weren't just watching a game, they were witnessing history in the making. As the Celtics and Lakers rivalry dominated the 1980s, a new, even more physical rivalry emerged in the late 1980s between the Chicago Bulls and the Detroit Pistons. Led by Michael Jordan, who was rising to superstardom, the Bulls found themselves facing off against the Detroit Pistons, who were known for their rough and physical style of play, especially with their bad boys mentality. Detroit's roster featured some of the toughest players in NBA history: Isaiah Thomas, Bill Laimbeer, Rick Mahorn, and Dennis Rodman. The Pistons were relentless, playing with an edge that often bordered on the violent. They became infamous for their Jordan rules, a set of defensive tactics designed specifically to frustrate and physically wear down Michael Jordan. The Pistons' strategy was clear: make Jordan pay every time he drove to the basket, limit his impact on the game, and force him to play in a way he wasn't accustomed to. For several years, the Pistons were the team that stood between Jordan and his first NBA title. In 1988, 1989, and 1990, the Pistons eliminated the Bulls from the Eastern Conference playoffs, with each series growing increasingly hostile. The physical play was evident. Laimbeer and Mahorn would rough up Jordan at every opportunity, often sending him to the free throw line after hard fouls. Detroit's bad boys mentality was not just about basketball, it was about trying to break Jordan's spirit. But in 1991, Michael Jordan finally got the better of the Pistons. In a moment that forever changed the landscape of the NBA, the Bulls swept the Pistons in the Eastern Conference Finals. It was a shocking result that left the Pistons, who had dominated the East for the previous 2 years, just reeling. Jordan's triumph over Detroit was, honestly, the moment he broke through the mental and physical barriers that had kept him from reaching the NBA Finals. It marked the beginning of the Chicago Bulls' first dynasty and, signaled the end of Detroit's reign in the East. That series wasn't just a turning point for the Bulls, it was also the end of an era for the Pistons. The rivalry between the Bulls and Pistons really set the stage for the 1990s, with Jordan's Bulls going on to dominate the decade with 6 NBA championships. The series also helped shape Jordan's legacy, teaching him how to win through adversity and physicality. It also demonstrated to the NBA world that toughness could only take a team so far. The skill and greatness of a player like Michael Jordan would eventually triumph over brute force. In the 2010s, the NBA saw another rivalry rise to the forefront, this time between LeBron James's Miami Heat and the San Antonio Spurs. From 2011 to 2014, these two teams squared off in the finals, showcasing some of the best basketball the NBA had seen in a long time. The 2013 finals were perhaps the pinnacle of this rivalry. The Spurs, with their aging but still incredibly effective core of Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, and Manu Ginobili, were poised for one last championship run. In Game 6 of the series, the Spurs were just seconds away from winning the title when Ray Allen, standing in the corner, hit one of the most iconic three-pointers in NBA history to tie the game. The shot saved the Heat's season and sent the series to a Game 7. Miami would go on to win the finals in 7 games, but the Spurs were devastated, having come so close to capturing a 5th championship. The rivalry wasn't just about the players, it was about the contrasting styles of basketball. The Spurs, known for their team-oriented play and efficient offense, were a reflection of the system-driven approach of head coach Greg Popovich. The Heat, on the other hand, were a super team, a collection of stars brought together with one goal to win championships. The series demonstrated that team-oriented basketball could still compete with the rise of individual superstars. In 2014, the Spurs got their revenge. In a rematch in the finals, San Antonio dismantled Miami in 5 games, showcasing a brand of basketball that was as beautiful as it was effective. The Spurs' ball movement and unselfishness were on full display, and they completely outplayed the Heat. It was a statement game, one that highlighted the value of teamwork and efficiency over individual talent. The Spurs won their 5th title, and this victory cemented their legacy as one of the greatest NBA dynasties. In recent years, no rivalry has captured the NBA's imagination more than the ongoing battle between LeBron James and the Golden State Warriors. From 2015 to 2018, LeBron and the Warriors met in 4 consecutive finals, creating one of the most intense and dramatic matchups the league has ever seen. The 2015 finals marked the beginning of this fierce rivalry. The Warriors, led by Stephen Curry and the Splash Brothers duo of Curry and Klay Thompson, were in the midst of an unprecedented run, setting an NBA record with 73 regular season wins. LeBron James, however, was determined to end his Cleveland Cavaliers' championship drought. Despite missing both Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love, LeBron carried the Cavaliers to the finals. However, the Warriors, with their deep roster and unstoppable offense, prevailed in 6 games, capturing the title. But it was in 2016 that this rivalry would reach its peak. The Cavaliers and Warriors faced off again, and this time LeBron was determined to bring a championship to Cleveland. The Warriors, who had set the NBA record for wins, were up 3-1 in the series, but LeBron refused to let his team go down without a fight. In a dramatic comeback, the Cavaliers won 3 straight games, culminating in a Game 7 victory. LeBron's block on Andre Iguodala and Kyrie Irving's clutch three-pointer with under a minute to play became 2 of the most iconic moments in finals history. The Cavaliers won their first ever championship, and LeBron James delivered on his promise to bring a title to Cleveland. The Warriors bounced back in 2017 and 2018, signing Kevin Durant in the offseason, which, helped them form a super team that was nearly unbeatable. The Cavaliers fought hard, but ultimately fell to the Warriors in both finals, with Golden State winning in 5 games both times. The rivalry was marked by incredible individual performances, game-changing moments, and constant shifts in power. Throughout history, NBA rivalries have defined the sport, creating storylines, iconic moments, and legacies that live on forever. From the Celtics and Lakers to the Bulls and Pistons, from LeBron's clashes with the Warriors to the Spurs' battle with the Heat, these rivalries are what make the NBA more than just a game. They are part of a larger narrative that has shaped the way we watch basketball, and they continue to inspire new generations of fans and players alike. The NBA is built on competition, and rivalries will always be at the heart of it. They remind us why we love sports, for the drama, the passion, and the unforgettable moments that stay with us long after the